Hi, my name is Jason Sanders, and I'm Managing Director of Flycast. Hopefully, you took a look at the brief video on our homepage and have come here to learn a little bit more about the services that we provide and the way that we think about search. Now, most companies that we've worked with and most companies that we've seen in general are good at hiring, which means that they're good at bringing a candidate through their interview process, screening, cultural screening, managing the process itself, negotiations, reference checking, and then finally closing and onboarding. But a lot of the companies are not as good as identifying those candidates in the first place and then attracting them into that interview process. And in fact, a lot of companies are not even aware that they're not good at this because they never get to see the good candidates in the first place. And that's the problem that we focus on. So what we do is, first of all, we take the message that you have, that you've crafted, that you know by heart, and turn it into something that is going to be really exciting for people that hear about it, that might be candidates that you're interested in. And in fact, the messages that we create have a dual purpose. They not only attract the right candidates, but they actually screen out the candidates that you don't want through the way that those messages are worded. Once we have that message in place, what we do is we research the market, and we have a research team that will go out, identify as many potential candidates, as many prospects as possible within a specific area. And we're experts at this, and we spend a lot of time at this, and there are a lot of companies that don't have the time. And that's another place where we fill in a gap, which is to support organizations, and in particular recruiting organizations that just don't have the time, that are stretched and can't identify the candidates easily, or prospects, I should say. And then what we'll do is we'll go out with the message to attract individuals to the position that we're recruiting. At that point, we screen those candidates. We don't do deep screens. What we do is we screen against skills and experiences, because the organizations that we work with are really the best judges of who fits, of what the cultural fit is between individuals and that company. And so what we do is we focus on then going back out to the marketplace and finding more, because what we found is that the more good candidates you have, the better the chances are that you're going to hire and that you're going to retain. And it is more about having those great candidates to interview in the first place, rather than having a really refined screening process. Now, a refined screening process is important, don't get me wrong, but using that against candidates that are not up to the standard that you need in order to hire is not really going to help. So you need to be able to apply that to an already robust group of candidates that you're interviewing. Now, this service is different than what a lot of others in the industry provide, and part of it has to do with what I described, and part of it has to do with the fee structure that we have set up. Most companies, most executive search companies, bill as a percentage of compensation, whether they're a contingency firm where you're paying that percentage after the person is hired, or whether they're a retained search company where you're paying that fee before you actually start the search. And in both cases, you'll be paying fees of something like 20, 25, 30%. And what that does is a couple of things. One is it changes the dynamics between you as a hiring company and the search company itself. And it also places the emphasis on the placement of the individual, as opposed to identifying the very best candidates from the market. Now, that's not to say that search companies in general don't go out to find the best candidates. They absolutely do. However, once there's a slate of candidates put together, there's not necessarily incentive to go back out to the market to find more candidates to increase the quality of that slate. So what you find is that traditional search companies, the the incentive of a percentage-based fee starts to pull them toward the back end of the search process, which is not necessarily beneficial to a company which is good at interviewing and onboarding the great candidates themselves. The other thing that's problematic is once you make the hire, you're looking at a pretty sizable fee, and so that can actually impact the way that companies think about the hire that they're going to make. So in other words, if you think that you're going to need to pay 20, 25%, 30% on top of the person's compensation package, then you're liable to think twice about hiring that individual, or maybe an individual that isn't quite as skilled or quite as good a fit, I should say, as that person, simply because you're going to be saving a big fee. The way that we operate is we charge a monthly fee. It's essentially a subscription fee. It's much lower than you would expect to pay on a percentage basis. And what it does is it allows us to focus on your needs, the candidates that you need. And in fact, there are no success fees that are involved in this. And so you don't need to worry that if you hire more than one, you're going to end up with additional fees and so forth. And it starts to align us so that if you have a search at a senior level and then you need to hire somebody at a mid-level, or you have a mid-level search and you need to hire a junior level person or whatever, you can do that with us easily without worrying about what kind of an impact that's going to have on the relationship between us. So if you want some more information about the way that this works, please get in touch with me. The best way is to send me an email. It's jason@flycastllc.com. And I would urge you to also download our ebook, which will help you in the way that you conduct the searches, but it will also give you a sense of the way that we operate in our philosophy and how we can help you. So I hope you download that, and I look forward to hearing from you.